Hi everyone. Not a good day. So let's share. By us, I mean me. You can feel free to vent when you finish watching this about whatever there is for you to vent about. I don't even know like an overarching thing. It's just like I am beyond frustrated and irritated and just over things, and I just can't anymore. I have to just shut my head off. So it's raining out. What's that song? Rainy days and Mondays always get you down. It's rainy and it's Monday. So hey, there you go. And usually I don't mind the rain, but it put a little damper in my, let's walk every day plan. So, but I'm like, no, that's not going to stop me. So I actually went to the gym today, which is right in my apartment complex. I'm hot too. I went to the gym today and walked on the treadmill for a mile for the Cancer Society walk that I'm doing. I'm like, I'm still going to be walking. But I find treadmills so boring. It's like I'm staring. It's not like the treadmill faces something cool to look at. It's a TV, which is off. I was listening to an audio book. But I'm like, this is so boring. Like, this is why I like to go outside and walk. But, like, it's pouring out, and my feet would just get soaked. And I can't. I have hiking boots that are waterproof, but I can't put them on because it requires too much pulling. I'm just, like, tired of all of it. Seriously. I'm tired of just, like, even sitting here, like, having the right pillow where it needs to be and having this pillow for my neck. And I returned that 4-pillow system thing. I'm just going to vlog from back here because I'm just toast. I'm just toast today. So I walked for a mile and I felt good about it, but it was so friggin' boring just doing that. And then it was a whole bunch of phone calls from, I don't even remember. I feel like there were doctors, just appointments that I need to make. And it was just like one phone call after another phone call, and you're on the phone, and then another phone call comes in, and it's from an important city, so you have to answer it. And then it's like, I mean, literally, I was on the phone with one person setting up an appointment for this week. And they're like, can you do Thursday? And I'm like, no, I can't because I have 3 appointments on Thursday and I can't fit anything more in for Thursday. And then on the other line calls in one of the doctors that I'm meeting with on Thursday to reschedule. So like I have to change that and move that to Monday. And like, well, now I have Thursday open, and I inadvertently hang up the phone on the other person I was calling. Just like multitasking is I'm so frustrated. Like my boobs hurt. Well, they also hurt because I slept well last night. So well. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to wear my old clothes again. Because, whatever. You can't really do that. As I'm trying to play with my hair and I can't even get it back in a stupid ponytail because I can't reach. I'm like, I'm going to try to put my old clothes on. So I wore, mostly because it was raining out. I'm like, I need to have pants that if they get wet, it's not a big deal. If I was going to go walking outside in the rain, but it was raining too hard. So I put these old pants on, like yoga-y pants, and they look great until I hit like my thighs. And then I'm like, oh, I guess I'm bloated again today. Yippee. And then I just can't get them up, and then I get them up, and I'm like, this is just so uncomfortable, but whatever, I'm just going to keep going. And then my keep going was, let's try out a bra, a sports bra, not the new zip-up ones, but the old ones from my old boobs back in the day. I'm going to wear that sports bra. You'll notice now it is no longer on, and I went back to my my plastic surgeon Velcro bra with the uber wide straps. It's oh so sexy. But I put my sports bra on, the old one, and it weirdly actually kind of fit. But I'm still like, my boobs aren't where they're supposed to be, and they're not exactly the same size, and I am up at this point, 15 pounds. I did lose some weight. I don't fit into that bra. And I'm like, you know what, tough crap, I'm gonna get it on anyway. So I put it on, and then I remembered the last time I had done that after the biopsies, I think. And then it was after the biopsies, I'm pretty sure. And then it's not so much to getting it on, because yeah, you can eventually get it on. The problem is when you go to take it off. It's much harder to get it off than it is to get it on. I obviously managed to get it off just now, but my shoulder really hurts. Just every part of me around me hurts. It's like way too much stuff to do. And I had an appointment today with the social worker from the cancer center. And she's female, whereas the therapist from the cancer center is male. And they're both fantastic. I don't want to focus so much on this today. I feel like I can talk about this tomorrow. Where am I time-wise? I can't see. 6 minutes. I want to focus on talking more about that tomorrow, but there were certain things I talked with her about that as open as I am, I didn't feel quite comfortable talking to a male about it. And I'll throw out, it was about like masturbating and the sexuality, and the context was like what's medicinal and what's considered sexual when it comes to your chest, you know, like it was all about that. I told her that the YouTube picture I put up got pulled, and I'm like, it's kind of funny that got pulled as a picture where you couldn't even see my non-nipple because my hand was just over here. All you saw was a scar like that big. But apparently there's people out there who are, you know, Googling boobs and XXX or XX space XX at midnight, or maybe I shouldn't post that late. Whatever. I don't know if it was midnight, but whatever. And that's why I got pulled. And then meanwhile, in my feed on YouTube for suggested videos, it has a video of a woman who just had a adult mastectomy, same kind as mine, where it's like, you know, their cuts were the exact same spot as mine. It was skin sparing, but she couldn't save her nipples. And I you know, it automatically plays for a couple seconds. And the autoplay is her unzipping her shirt and just taking her shirt off. No bra, nothing. And I'm like, well, why can that be up there when, like, she's showing everything, you know? And is flatter chested than she had implants, but they were just very small. They were like, I think she had expanders and they were like 100 cc's or something. And mine are 550, 560, something like that. And my picture gets pulled off for having my hand over my boob, and you see a slight scar, and she's got a video of her going like this, and that doesn't get pulled. I don't understand that. Like, how is my picture considered sexual and hers is considered, well, it's medicine? And I'm like, well, it's not like I'm showing off my scar as a sexy thing. I mean, there's probably people that are into that kind of thing, but whatever. I want to focus more about that tomorrow, because that's a bigger issue about, like, this country and like, I haven't lived in other countries. I just know that other countries are much more laid back about stuff with sexuality than we are here. And I just find it kind of ridiculous about what they put restrictions on here, where, like, they're so they're nonsensical to me, because, you know, what goes in one place doesn't in another, and so many people here are just so ridiculously prudish, and especially for women, like, they don't talk about stuff. I'll focus more about this tomorrow, because that's not really where I want to go. I just want to complain to you and then shut off and eat the apple crisp I have sitting in front of me before it gets cold. So stay tuned. I'll talk about that tomorrow, or the day after, when I'm not as riled up as I am right now. So I was just a little overwhelmed with the amount of phone calls this morning and scheduling stuff and whatever. And then, you know, my mind just starts going after talking to the social worker about, like, where I am right now. Like, with this 6-week mark, it's supposed to be like, well, you're healed after 6 to 8 weeks, or it takes 6 to 8 weeks to heal from a double mastectomy, you know, and people, like, stepping away more, where they're like, okay, great, you don't need chemo or radiation, and you started your tamoxifen, okay, you're all good. And I'm like, no, because I'm starting this other phase with a tamoxifen, which has been okay so far, but it's not like I'm leading like normal life. Like, I'm not going out and dancing and whatever. Like, my life is not back to what it was at all. And I still need like ridiculous supports and they look different from what I thought they would look like. And she, you know, I hadn't talked to her in like a month, and she said, you know, it's interesting because that was the first time I was emotional with her. But usually when I talk to her, I'm like plowing out like businessy things, like, you know, my leave and stuff with work, or, you know, whatever it is. It's more like task-oriented things. And she hasn't seen me more in a therapeutic way, because I didn't really use her for that. But I'm like, she's a social worker. I said, can I talk about this stuff? Because I'm going to lose my shit if I don't talk about it. And she, I mean, a lot of people the past few days have just said, like, I hear how frustrated you are. And I don't know if that's the right word, but I guess that's what I'm showing. It's like so many little things that, like, I'm not. She said between the 6 and the 10 week mark is probably the hardest emotionally with this process, because you think that, you know, by the time you hit 6 weeks, you know, like, what your next plan is for treatment. And, like, there's less planning, I guess, to do. So there's more time for, like, emotion to start creeping in, which is why we were talking about the sexuality part and all that, which I'll get to tomorrow. That's a whole other topic. But I said, like, you know, I just want to, like, get up and go and do things. And it's hard with the pandemic because you can't really. And I'll find out on Wednesday how immunocompromised I still am. But I'm like, I want to just get back behind the wheel and drive. And I still can't. I'm getting better at it, but I can't. Not to the point that I was before. And, like, I want to get a package and not have to plan, like, just because I get a stupid package in the mail, I have to think, well, what's the package? Can I take it by myself? If I can't get it out of the Amazon locker, which I can usually get it out, I just can't bring it from the locker to my apartment. One of the great things about living in an apartment is that there's people around that can help you. But, like, the other day, like, there was no one there to help me. And I'm like, I live in an apartment building with, like, lots of people that live here, and nobody was around. And it's just, yes, it's frustrating. And you think when you hit that 6 week point, like, people start, like, doing their thing and thinking that you're fine. And, well, you know, now you can probably just go back to making meals. And I'm like, I can, like, if I made a salad today and I was only hurting for an hour instead of 2 or 3, you know, it's not like you just click a button and it all goes away. I mean, it is a marathon, and that means it's still a marathon of help. Like, I still need help. The help just looks different. Like, I need help getting out of this freaking environment, because between the pandemic and being stuck in your house all the time, and now it's like, you know, well, I guess with the Delta variant, it's gotten less, like, free, I can't even think of words. Like, people are back to wearing masks inside, and rates are starting to go up again and stuff. And with school in session too. But, like, I see people that, like, you know, they know that I'm always, like, the fun friend. And if I'm not the fun friend, because I can't be fun right now, and I can't go out dancing, and I can't go play tennis, or I can't do all these things, then, like, what's my place right now? I don't know what that place is. And what I don't want to be is just, like, shoved to the side because I don't fit in that space where people know me as. Like, just because I'm not that Jen doesn't mean I'm not, like, Jen who needs help and is just a different kind of help. I feel like a 15-year-old boy in high school. Like, I've asked out so many people to do things. And I have stuff in place now, but like it takes so much energy to ask people to do things. I'm like, I don't always want to be the one to ask. Like, when you find people that are independent, I think a common misconception is like, you know, I choose to be independent. You know, like, I have to be independent. If I had like a, you know, if I had my family living here, coming for dinner every Sunday, like that'd be awesome. But that's not my life. And I wish it were, but it's just, it's not. And as I get older, like I know people that fuel me and people that don't. And I do have my boundaries that way, that like, you know, if someone's saying they want to spend time with me, but I know that I don't feel good or better when I'm around them, it doesn't work for me to spend time with them. And I get to be picky right now because I'm not going to like sit there and feel like crap being around someone when I could just like watch some stupid reality show or something. So it's still having those boundaries. So I was talking about that this morning, and she said that that's typical, and unfortunately, I'm only at week 6 now, and this is like, she said, this is very common for between week 6 and 10, and I'm like, great, I have another fucking month of this. Like, that kind of sucks. And I said, like, what magical thing happens at 10 weeks? And she said, well, at that point, you know, you are able to, like, start doing more, you know, you're more normal, more to your normal old self than you were. So you get put back in that box that people see you as. And then like right now, like you're redefining who you are as Jen. And throughout my life in particular, like I've had to redefine myself so many different times. Like I remember when we moved from New York to Massachusetts, I was teaching right before we moved, and like that was my career. And then when we moved here, I wasn't certified to teach here, and I was fortunately could be a stay-at-home mom at that point. And I did that for 4 years, I think. And in between that time, got divorced, so I was a little busy, and I, you know, sitting on the couch eating bonbons, watching soaps or whatever that everyone thinks that you do when you're a single mom, and it's so not. But I remember when I stopped teaching, like it was hard to resign from teaching because I'm like, you know, that this is my thing. This is my career. This is what I went to school for. Like this is what I do. And it was hard to just get up and resign. And I mean, I did become certified to teach in Massachusetts, and I do tutor, which is so rewarding for me. But getting back into the teaching field when you get older is really hard. There's some positions that like if you're older, it's better because you have more experience. But with teaching, the reality is that like with the experience that I have, they could hire 2 20-something-year-olds, like 2 people fresh out of high school, or out of college, for the amount of money it would cost to hire me. And I've been told that flat out. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's time to switch gears. And that was when I started working at Bedford TV. I actually had another job offer 2 days after I got hired, or 2 days after Bedford TV offered me the position. Somebody else had asked if I wanted, you know, offered me a position. And I'm like, I just signed on with them, and I think it's time to try something new. But the point I'm trying to get at is those years where I was a stay-at-home mom, which was about 4 years, it was a matter of redefining myself. Like, if I'm not a teacher, like, who am I? You know, like, I'm so used to, you know, you leave at 7:00 and you get there at 7:38, and first period 7:45, and that day ends at, you know, 2:26 or whatever it is. You know, being a teacher in middle school, you know, you're in these blocks of time. So your schedule is like block. It's so structured out. And then you go from that to like, well, you drop, you know, your kids off at school, and now you have all this time in between before they get home. And it took me a few years before I started volunteering in the schools and here in Massachusetts and redefined myself by becoming a room mom. And I'm like, well, this is great because I would have wanted to do that with my older son, but it wasn't a choice of me being a stay-at-home mom. I needed to work. But I could do that now with my younger one. So I was a room parent. I don't think I was with my older one. He was in third. Well, I would have only had 2 years worth. We moved in between when my younger one was in kindergarten and my older one was in third grade was when we moved here. And it was in like April. So it was like close to the end of the school year. That's why, in case like anyone ever wonders, like why, because my younger one in Massachusetts should be a year younger. He should be a junior, not a senior because of his birthday. But when we moved to New York, the cutoff there is in December, and in Massachusetts, it's September 1st or the end of August, and they're pretty strict about it. So my son is like, I think he used to be the youngest in the grade for years, and now I think there's one person who's younger than he is. But he's young. He started senior year. He was only 16. Anyway, it's a matter of like redefining the pockets that even you put yourself into. And then once I started volunteering, I'm like, okay, now I'm the room parent, and that's the pocket that I'm in. And then I started, I did box tops for education when I was in New York, when I was on leave after having my son. I don't remember. I started doing box tops on the committee, and then a friend of mine and I, she brought it up, like, hey, do you want to take over, or, take over the box tops program in Bedford? And I'm like, okay. And we brought in like a ridiculous amount of money. And that led to creating like who Jen is here. And I think that's what people know me as. Like, they know me as being this big person. I sound egotistical, but I'm just saying, we raked in like 65 grand or something for the schools. Like, that's not chump change, I mean, it's literally changed because it's a dime for a box top, but over the years and stuff, it does add up. So yeah, I was the box tops queen, and I did the news. And then I'm like, oh, there's Jen. She works for the news. And I'm like, no, I don't work for the news. I do the news, whatever. And then, I did this other stuff and started the show. And then I'm on this on-air personality. And then that was my box. And, they see me as this thing. And there's Jen. She's the one who, doesn't mind asking questions. So let's reach out to her to do, podcasts and stuff. And that's great. I love doing that. Please, the people that, were doing that, please ask me again to do a podcast. I have more than enough information to share. But it's I'm put now in this box where people kind of don't know what to do with me. And I think they just leave her there because they don't know what to do with me. And then here I sit. And right now I'm literally trapped because I can't find my freaking keys anywhere. I just wanted to get out and get some air, even in the rain, and take out the recycling. And I have absolutely no idea where my keys are. So I can't leave because I won't be able to get back in. I have no idea where my keys are. And I started looking for them, and the amount of energy it took me to get the bra off, I don't have the energy to keep looking anymore. But then today's Monday, so that's grocery day, and I had ordered through stuff with Instacart, which has the worst freaking customer service ever. They just never placed the order. And this woman drove a half an hour and sat in the friggin' parking lot. And I'm like, they never, usually they say, Sally is putting together your order or whatever. And no one ever did that. So I called them well, what's going on? And they're like, you never put in an order. I'm like, I'm looking at the page. And they're like, here's my confirmation number, blah, blah. And then they're like, oh, our website was down last night for 3 hours. I'm like, well, it wasn't really down because I have the order right here. But the end result is there's no groceries that were shopped for me. And, it's the pickup's supposed to be between 3 and 4, and someone's sitting there at 3 o'clock, and I'm on the phone with Instacart from pretty much 3:10, I think, until 4 o'clock, literally. And at the end of all that crazy, all they're like is, well, what we could do is give you $20 to your Instacart account, towards the next purchase. And I'm like, first of all, I don't even have I go through Wegmans through their online shopping thing, and it's tied together with Instacart. I don't pay for a separate Instacart account. So I'm like, putting $20 on an account that I don't have is like worthless to me. I'm like, what I need is groceries in my kitchen right now. Like my, you know, my kitchen, my fridge is kind of bare right now. And I'm just like sitting there like, there's nothing I could physically do to solve this problem right now. And yes, it's so frustrating because I'm like, I have someone in that garage who's waiting to help me. And she ended up getting all the groceries for me herself after waiting in the freaking parking garage for an hour for me. And I'm on the phone with Instacart and they're just not getting it. And I'm like, people, like, I just want food in my freaking refrigerator. That's all I want. And then I think of like the privilege of even having Instacart, because if you shop those, even if you do curbside pickup, they jack up the prices 15%. That's not including any delivery fees or whatever. They say like, oh, it's free. It's not free. They jack up the prices by 15%. And if you read the fine print, like it says it right there. And like food delivery when you're sick should not be something that's like, you know, a privilege to have. You should be able to just like get food brought to you, you know? And it sucks that you have to have like more money just to be able to afford to have someone go grocery shopping for you and bring it to your home. Like, yes, that sounds hoity-toity, but food, clothing, shelter, you need food. And yes, there's a food pantry, and I did ask if they could drop it off, because right now it's not really based on need. They have ample stuff that they could drop it off for you if you need to. Part of that's because of the pandemic. It was just not a good day. Parts of it were a good day. This morning I was happy, and I'll talk about this tomorrow too because it ties together. Someone came to help. When I tell you what she did, it'll basically tell you who she is, so I won't say that. But someone came to help me today and drop something off for me. And she looked me in the eye while she was talking to me. Which sounds like so, like, yeah, that's what you should do. But it happens so frequently. Like 90% of the time when someone's dropping something off or whatever, that they don't look here. They look here. And maybe once in a while glance up. And if you're curious, just freaking ask me. I'm tempted to one day, which I would never do, but just to answer their phone and just be like, full frontal and be like, you know, just get a good look now so that way you could just get it out of your system and then look here and let me know. And then we'll have our little conversation. But for the love of God, like, please look him in the eye when you're talking to me. I know I had shit done here. I don't need other people staring there too. I know you're curious, so just ask. It was years ago where I went upstate with my kids to visit my mom. And there was somebody swimming in the pool who was an amputee. Because her leg was leaning up against one of the chairs. And my son kept peeking over at her. And I'm like, you don't have to stare at her like she's a freakazoid. Like, you know, yeah, she's missing her leg and there's some story behind it. I'm like, don't stare at her, you know, like it's awesome that she's in a pool where she doesn't have to think about the fact that she doesn't have her full leg with her. So I went over to her and I said, you know, I don't want my son to be staring at you. But I said, you know, I am like, I don't remember exactly what I said, but it led to a conversation that she had cancer and she had to have her leg amputated. And I asked her how the prosthetic worked and stuff and whatever. And, you know, it's just knowledge. And people are afraid to ask these things. But you know what? It's so much worse than just stare. And I know that people are curious or uncomfortable or whatever. But I would rather they just ask. It makes you feel like you're not a human. That you're just like a project. You know, let's look at the project. You know? And there's enough drama with these right now. I don't need them to be more of a project. see a lot of humans other than like people that are helping out with stuff and they drop off and they leave. So when I do see someone and they're making conversation, it means a lot. They just look me in the eye and have a conversation with me. And if you're curious, I'll explain to you why it looks like I still have my boobs, because I do have implants. And they hurt. I mean, a lot less than they did. But to have implants in, like, it's a process. They don't just put them in, then you walk away. They core out your chest first. Oh, they gotta wait for all the pieces to mold together. Like, it's a lot, and I'm more than happy. Obviously, I'm vlogging. I'm more than happy to share. But please don't stare. So grateful that the woman that was waiting in the freaking parking garage for an hour ended up buying me groceries anyway. I'm grateful that it's Monday because somebody did drop off dinner and it was really, really, really good. And I have dessert here. This is like, this is like the treat for the end of the day. Because then somebody else was dropping off stuff and then I look at the bag and I'm like, I can't lift it. And thank God Caleb was home because he could drag it in. But then like, and the dinner was really good. And then I'm like, you know what, I just want to like go outside, get some fresh air, and take the recycling out as an excuse to like get up and move around. But I can't find my keys anywhere. And my place isn't even a mess. I've been straightening stuff up, like little pieces here and there. I have no idea where they are. Whatever, I'll find them. So I have my favorite dessert, apple crisp. These compostable bowls, by the way, which I know are like eco-friendly, but they also like leak through because they're compostable. They don't last super long. So what I can do with my left arm is give this a good shake. Can't do that with my right. See, like I am better that I can do like this. I'm not doing that with my right side. Although I do have to press this to get it on the right side. And put some, here's PT for you. Put some whipped cream on top of my apple crisp. I don't care how not healthy for you it is, because some days you just need some whipped cream. If it weren't COVID, I'd do it right out of the container. I'm not doing that. Oh, that's good stuff. Not the healthiest thing for you, but you know what? Today was a lot. My body is like this whole separate being right now, and I'm not one with it at all yet. And then shit like this happens where like I don't have groceries. And I have to like fight and be on the phone for a freaking hour with them. And then I call them and they're like, no, it's Wegmans' fault. And I call Wegmans and they're like, no, it's Instacart's fault. And then they're like, okay, we'll connect you to corporate. 3 times they connected me to corporate, but I never actually got connected to corporate. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have the energy right now to fight anymore. I'm tired. I have like enough shit to do. I have enough things to like have to figure out. It's just not worth it. So yeah, in the beginning when I'm like, yeah, I'm not emotional, I'm okay, I'm all task oriented, whatever, like that lasted. I did shampoo my hair yesterday. I can't remember if I told you guys that, because I don't recall when I vlogged yesterday. But I washed my hair for the first time yesterday since surgery. By myself, I mean. I don't know if I did or not. I don't even know what I talked about yesterday. I feel like I vlogged earlier in the day and I didn't shower till later on in the day. My hair looked really good yesterday. Maybe I did. I don't even know. It's just too much to keep track of. But like I was saying, like by the second day, my hair is not as like lovely. And then with it raining, it's like super, like I can go like, woo! And then like my hair gets like super big and thick and frizzy and it's like, it gets crazy, crazy, crazy thick. But yes, I do have curly hair. So I still have to put away half the groceries. I don't have the energy to reach. By the time everything happened, like Caleb had to get going, so he helped me with the with the perishables, and the rest is still sitting out. So yeah, so that's where I am. Gonna put my scrunchie on and have my whipped cream. Oh, before it gets all flat and stuff, I need to have that. I can have a bite right now. Like, isn't that yummy? I love apple crisp. That's so good. All right, so I'm gonna keep eating. I'm gonna watch stupid shows. I watched like this, it wasn't a Hallmark movie, but I watched a movie on Amazon which had really good reviews, and I watched it and it was the most ridiculous rom-com ever. The acting was horrible. And it's like, oh, a love triangle. Shocking. You know, does he go with the really pretty one or the one who's like the girl next door? Shocker, he went with the one who was like the girl next door. I'm like, oh my God, please let me escape from all this. And tomorrow I'm supposed to see a friend. We're going to go walking. Now it's supposed to rain tomorrow, so I don't know what's happening with that. I don't know. It's frustrating. I did get chocolate today. That was nice. See, look, it's strong and velvety. Just like me. I don't know how I'm velvety, but strong. See how strong I am? This is a part of like what it is about me too. I'll put myself in the box of, you know, people are afraid to say stuff. I'm not afraid to say stuff anymore at all. I'm not. I used to very much be, and I'm not. Like, I've got nothing to hide. Well, I do have things that I can't share, but like, I'm not gonna, like, you know, the discussion tomorrow about the whole like sexuality versus like medicine, with a mastectomy, with boobs in general, you know, like which came first with boobs, that they were sexy or that like you use them to actually feed your children, you know? They weren't designed. I would think that they weren't designed in order to like, you know, just be sexy. They were designed to have mammary glands so that way you could like feed your child, which is ironic because like those mammary glands, like that's, those milk ducts is where the cancer starts. How ironic. Although they do say that like breastfeeding cuts your risk down substantially of getting breast cancer. I breastfed one of my children. The other one I pumped for 9 months. I pumped for 9 months. Is that crazy? And maybe got an ounce each time. It would take you 45 minutes of pumping. Every time you went down for a nap, I would pump and I'd get like an ounce out. And then my second one, he latched on right away and did his thing, and he never even drank from a bottle, ever. He went straight from me to a cup. Like a year or so is when he started weaning off. So if anyone tells you, you know, well, there's nothing wrong with you because, you know, you can't nurse. It's like, no, the problem actually was not with me. Why I couldn't nurse was my first one. It doesn't make you better or not good, by the way, if you can't nurse. I had so much peer pressure about freaking nursing, it was ridiculous. And they're like, oh, well, if you nurse, your kid won't have allergies, you know. Meanwhile, now, it's like my son that I did nurse exclusively is the one who walks around with 2 EpiPens all the time. I could go through a whole list of things to complain about right now, but I'm going to stop. Oh my God, about 39 minutes. Holy cow. All right, I'm going to stop and not take the recycling out since I don't have my keys. And yes, enjoy the next few vlogs for even more real information from Jen and real sharing without powder coating pretty much anything. And yeah, the masturbating thing, like, why is it okay for men to talk about masturbating, but it's not okay for women to talk about it? Don't understand that. But I will be talking about it, and hopefully YouTube won't flag it off saying, well, that's just sexual. Like, really? It's sexual. I mean, Yes, and it's medicinal too, you know? Like there's, you know, certain needs that people have, and you have parts and that need things, whatever. And like, you know, why is it okay for men to do it and not women? It's just stupid. Like, why do men get, you know, like, oh, look at you, how many times did you jerk off today? You know, you say that to a woman and it's like, oh, we can't talk about that. Like, give me a friggin' break. Anyway, so I'll be talking about that soon. Hopefully it won't get pulled. It's ridiculous. All right, I'm leaving now because my whipped cream is getting mushy. All right. Bye. Thanks for listening and stay tuned.